mazo para Anki es el que te voy a dejar abajo en la descripción. Siendo el mejor mazo, no podía ser gratis, pero no te preocupes, también te voy a dejar otra opción que no es tan buena, pero tiene la gran ventaja de que es gratis. No nada más estamos memorizando las palabras de Anki para tenerlas en la cabeza y ya. No. La idea de esto es que esas palabras después podamos reconocerlas durante la inmersión, que sería mi segundo punto. La inmersión es básicamente estar, como bien dice la palabra, inmerso en el idioma. Vas a estar consumiendo media en el idioma. Cuando yo digo inmerso en el idioma, me refiero a que consumas cosas que no hayan sido creadas con un objetivo didáctico, o sea, que no hayan sido creadas con la finalidad de que aprendas el idioma. No son tan buenos en mi opinión porque como que les falta un poquito de naturalidad en mi experiencia. Vas a sacarle mucho más provecho al intentar entender algo que fue hecho con el propósito de divertirse a algo que fue hecho con el propósito de enseñarte el idioma. Especialmente si eres principiante y pones una película o serie por primera vez, audio en el idioma y subtítulos en el idioma, te vas a sentir inmensamente frustrado de que no vas a entender nada. Si este es tu caso en el que esto te quita las ganas incluso de vivir, ok, creo que ahí sí valdría la pena buscar algo un poquito más didáctico o algo... Muy buenas. No sería un directo de Mr. Salas si empezáramos a tiempo, ¿verdad? Así que no se preocupen, chicos, me aseguré de empezar de nuevo. Tarde, como siempre. Un gusto saludarlos el día de hoy. Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están el día de hoy? Ok, estoy saludándolos en español. Perdón. Pero les prometo que vamos a hacerlo el día de hoy todo en inglés. A ver, vamos a ver quién está por acá, quiénes están por acá. Vamos a saludar aquí a Daphne Alejandra, Daniel, Jeremy, Andisaurio. ¿Qué tal, Andisaurio? Un gusto verte por acá otra vez. Benorti de Wally, a Heidi, Silvia Costa. Muchos nombres que reconozco. Samuel Penago. Samuel. Oh, Samuel, necesitamos hacer esa mentoría, Samuel. Por favor, vuelve, por favor. Manda un mensaje. Se me olvidó por completo, Dios mío, Samuel. Por favor, mándame otro mensaje. Te juro que no pasa de esta semana. Una disculpa, Samuel. Paulo Málaga, Ezequiel, Edgar, Manuel, El Cofre, William, Alice, Andrea, José Carlos, Juiz, Isa, Games Pro, Reich. Y por cierto, para los que no saben, mira, por acá está también Fabián Soto, por favor, Fabián, necesitamos un nuevo link para lo del eliminado de oraciones. Para los que no sepan, aquí Samuel Penago se ganó una mentoría conmigo. Se la ganó hace tiempo. En ese momento él no pudo tomarla conmigo. Y después pasó algo de tiempo. Y ahora yo soy el que no ha podido tener el tiempo para tomarla con él. Pero pronto, te lo juro. Es más, Samuel, si quieres, me encantaría grabarla y subirla al canal. ¿Qué opinas? Para compensar un poco que nos tardamos tanto. Espero me contestes a ver si te gusta la idea. Sería cool que la gente viera cómo son las mentorías, ¿verdad? Ok, en fin. ¿Me envías un correo con la extensión, Fabián? Dios mío, no lo he visto. Ok, muchísimas gracias, Fabián. Lo voy a checar, entonces lo voy a checar. Va, perfecto. Ok. Entonces, oigan. Bueno, esto va a ser completamente en inglés. ¿Listos? Entonces voy a empezar básicamente a la de ya. ¿Ok? A la de ya. Vamos a empezar. Muy bien. So, let's go. Like, today we are going to talk in English. Alright? It's gonna be all about English. Okay? So, yes, it's going to be super English today. It's gonna be an English day. So it's gonna be a special day today. Oh, thank you, Dulahan Gang Dragon. He says, he wants to call the sailors. Sailors or the howlers. Howlers por sala. Okay, that's funny. That's funny. I see some people writing in German. Okay. I see some people writing in English. Okay. So, I mean, well, so, today, I'm just gonna tell you my story. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you the story of how I learned English. All right. That's it. So, I'm going to divide this live in 2 sections. Well, actually in 3 sections. The first section, I'm gonna talk about how I learned English, like whenever I was little, how I improved. I'm gonna talk about, on the second section, how I got to the C2 level. I have a C2 level, all right? So, tiempo. Déjenme ver si puedo activar los subtítulos automáticos. No estoy seguro si esto se puede. Déjenme revisar. No estoy seguro, la verdad. No tengo ni idea si eso se puede hacer. Lo que sí es que no deberían tener, ¿cómo se llama? Anuncios durante el directo. Eso sí me encargué de que no tuvieran ningún anuncio. Espero que así sea. ¿Soy yo o se ve un poquito oscuro aquí? Bueno, está bien. No se ve tan mal, ¿verdad? A ver, entonces... Denme un momentito. Déjenme ver si puedo hacer que tenga subtítulos, pero no sé si eso es posible. ¿Alguien sabe si eso es posible? Según yo, eso no es posible. Como que ponerle subtítulos automáticos a los en vivo. Creo que no, pero a ver, vamos a ver. Tengo una idea de cómo podría resultar. No. No, es diferente. Las opciones que tengo son diferentes a las de video. Voy a ponerle no, capítulos automáticos no. Idioma tampoco se puede cambiar. Ok, no puedo cambiar nada, así que... Ni modo, tendremos que hacerlo así. Ok? Sorry. Yeah, no, it's not possible. It's not. Life is not possible. Okay, I'm sorry. It's going to be all in English. I'll try to speak very slowly. But I'll try to speak very clearly as well. Right? So I think this first part of the live, it's going to be like 1 hour, maybe. All right, it's going to be like an hour while I tell you my story, how I got to C2 level, and some tips to become advanced. Okay. Now, the Discord will come tomorrow. Okay. Discord is going to come tomorrow. Tomorrow, you should have a link to it. I'm also going to give you a link to the Discord to everyone who is a member. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. All right. So the Discord. No sé quién les dijo que el Discord salía hoy. Ahí puse en las notas del video que el Discord lo saco mañana, el 16 de junio. ¿Ok? Entonces mañana ya está listo el Discord. El Discord es un disco para que la gente se meta y hablemos de idiomas y todo eso. ¿Va? De acuerdo. Ok, entonces déjenme... ¿Dónde está mi cafecito? Aquí está mi cafecito. I'm ready. Ok. ¿Están listos entonces? ¿Están listos? ¿Listos? Porque me voy a soltar a hablar en inglés. Ok, me voy a soltar a hablar en completo inglés. Me pregunta que si estoy borracho. No, yo ni siquiera tomo alcohol. Pero gracias, Palma. No sé, simplemente soy yo hablando inglés. Eso es todo. Ok, ¿ya están listos? Va. Ok. Ahora, lo único que quiero decirles en español antes de empezar es que este directo, ya saben que estos directos están patrocinados por... ¿Adivinen? Por supuesto, ya saben, ¿verdad? Por Elsa Speak. Entonces, Elsa Speak está patrocinando este directo. Vamos a hacerlo en inglés en esta ocasión. Y Elsa Speak es para mejorar nuestra pronunciación, nuestro acento, desde una manera más científica, si lo queremos ver así, mediante el estudio y la práctica de la fonética, que es algo que yo siento que es de las mejores maneras de aprender. La fonética es con esa aplicación. Y para que vean, no conozco ninguna otra aplicación que haga lo que hace Elsa Speak. Así que pruébenlo. Ahí tienen un código para 7 días gratis. O la membresía de por vida con el 85% de descuento. O un descuento real. O sea, lo pagan una vez y lo tienen para siempre. ¿Va? Listo. Ok, se acabó el anuncio. Alright. So, now. English, right? No encuentro canal de Twitch en directo. No lo puse junto al de Twitch. Boxing. Más que nada porque Twitch es puro español. Es por eso. Ok. So. Let's see. Christian asks me, the tips you're going to provide, are they useful in other languages as well? Hope you can read this. Yes, Christian. So all these tips are going to be available in like for any language. So sorry, they should be useful for any language, right? So hopefully you'll find something of use during this live. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Awesome here. Okay, so I think the Discord is ready. So at the end of this talk, at the end, I'm gonna tell you. Thank you very much, Joselina. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Towards the end of this live, I'm gonna give you a link for our Discord. So anyone who is a member, okay, esto lo voy a decir en español para que me entiendan. Todos los miembros del canal. Les voy a publicar algo en la tarjeta de comunidad, solamente para miembros. Ustedes van a tener acceso al Discord desde hoy. Y para todos los demás, el Discord ya va a estar disponible mañana. La razón de esto es que queremos hacer una prueba, a ver si funciona bien, que todo esté listo, a ver que ya todo se vea, etc. Van a ver algunas cosas ahí de repente mal, pero pues van a poder entrar ahí el día de hoy para probarlo y ya mañana se abre. O sea, si no quieren volverse miembros, solo tienen que esperar un día. Y listo, van a poder entrar. ¿Va? Ok. Anyway, so, let's go for it. Let's go. Right. So. I need some water. There we go. I have my water. All right. So now the story begins. The story. Thank you, Joselina. Thank you very much. So let me tell you about the story. This is the story of a little Mr. Salas. Oh, this little boy called Mr. Salas. He was a very happy boy whenever he was like 5 or 4 years old. He was very naive, and he didn't know anything about life, right? And he also didn't know anything about languages, which is interesting, right? Because now my whole life is basically languages. I love languages. So whenever I was a kid, I didn't know anything about languages. And when I say that, I mean that I didn't know what a language was. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but I basically had no idea what's Spanish. Like, I knew it was like the thing I was, trying to speak with my parents, but I didn't know like, oh, the concept of there's so many languages in the world. So many people speak different languages. I had no recollection. I had no idea about that, right? So it was very, it was like strange idea to me. Okay, so the first time I knew about languages was I used to like these storybooks when I was little. I had a lot of storybooks from the Grimm brothers. I remember those very well, and they were in Spanish, right? But in those books, I remember I read stuff like, oh, this story was in London. I was like, where's London? Oh, London is in the United Kingdom. It's like, oh, what's that? Is that a country? Is that something different? And whenever I learned about English, right? So I had but before that, I had no idea what English was. So it was like a weird idea. Thank you, Hagrid Watson, for becoming a member. Thank you very much. So I had no idea what I was doing, right? I had no idea what I was listening to. So the first time, I remember this very well. The first time I took an English class was when I was in possibly like kindergarten, I think. And I was so excited about learning English. It was fun to me. It's like, wow, now I know how to say the colors in English. And I remember on the trip, I don't know if this happens to you, but I have no recollection of anything from the time when I was a kid. But I remember this very clearly. I was in the back of the car with my parents, and I was telling them, oh, do you know how to say rojo in English? And they were like, no, I don't know. My dad doesn't know a single word of English. He has no idea. So it was really embarrassing for him.
I remember that, and I tried to tell him, oh, do you know like rojo is red? Do you know that verde is green? All that stuff. So I mean, so basically, I wanted to know like what if they knew this stuff that I did that I was learning, right? And actually, they didn't. My parents never learned a second language. Like, I think nobody in my family really knows a second language. Or at least they're not interested. Maybe they learned it, but they didn't learn it because they wanted to. They learned it because like they either had to, they took classes or something. But there was no like very like clear interest of languages in my family. I think I'm the first person that defines his own personality or their job by being like, you know, related to languages. So anyway, so that was the first time I was in contact with English, and I loved it. It's funny, right? Because nowadays I do not like the idea of like having classes or teaching English that way, but at the time that was really good. I think that was like that was the first time I was able to like be in contact with the language, right? Oh, thank you, Justin Peña, thank you for the 100, thank you very much. And Jorge with the €2 is your book updated in the physical format? It's not updated yet, no, so do not buy it yet. Do not buy it. Okay, so. Anyway, so yeah, so that was the first time I was in contact with my English. Now let's fast forward a little. I actually at that time I also became interested in video games, right? So I loved video games. I have a bunch of video games that I played back then, and I don't know if I think a lot of you guys are very young, so you probably don't remember, but whenever they're in the 90s. Those are the years when I grew up. In those years, like video games were not available in Spanish. So if you wanted to be part of that community, if you wanted to be part of that, you know, of this geek culture at the time, if you want to be a gamer, if you wanted to be a gamer, you had to learn English. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to understand like basically anything because all the games were in English, right? So. At that time, I became interested in video games, and I remember playing a lot of games. Actually, all of this, by the way, a lot of this story is in my book, De Cero a Políglota. I wrote like a whole chapter about that. But basically, I became interested in video games. I wanted to play them, and the only way of doing that, was just learning English. So I kind of forced myself. I'll tell you in a minute how I did that. Davey asks me, what were the first video games you played? So if we really go back in time, the first video games I played were very easy games that didn't involve any language at all. Like, for example, like Mario Bros, like the first one, right? So that game has basically no English at all. It's all about just moving from point A to point B. So as long as you can do that, you're fine. So that game didn't actually teach me any English, right? I think the first time I was in contact with the language and I had to read and I had to learn in order to be able to actually make some progress in the game was with Super Mario 64. All right. So whenever I started playing Super Mario 64, there were some puzzles and some stuff that I didn't know what they meant, but I had to read. Now, something funny about that, it's that in that game, you don't really have to know anything about like the lore or what's going on with the game in order to make some progression, because it's so easy, right? It's just move there and you'll eventually figure it out. So the first time I actually struggled with the language was in Zelda Ocarina of Time. That was the first game. That was the first game I played. that I really needed to learn English, because a lot of the stuff was, you know, like you go to a person, you talk to them, and they tell you, oh, you need to go to this place or to that place, and you need to do this and that. It's like I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't get it at all. Right? So it was weird. It was weird. Whenever I try to like, how can I explain this? It was weird because I became really good at English by reading the language, right? So I remember I was playing with a friend, and he didn't speak English either. So we were both trying to pass the game, and we had a dictionary, right? So we had a dictionary, like we had like, so here's the game, right? So we're playing the game, and whenever we find a word, it's like, what's that? You know? So, oh, well, let me check. And I remember I had a trouble. I had a big trouble once, and we were playing the game, and we were supposed to visit a well. I don't know if you guys know that word, but the word well means pozo in Spanish. So, but well also means good in Spanish. So I remember I checked the dictionary, and it's like, oh, so well means good. So we have to visit a good. And it was like, what the hell is that? We have to visit a good? We have to visit a what? So obviously the dictionary wasn't perfect, but eventually I understood. Oh, so well means pozo. Yeah, the Kakariko one. There you go. That's the one. So yeah, that was funny, right? Now, so that's how I learned that word. So that's a clear example of learning through input, right? Learning through just being immersed in the language, being immersed in learning like words in context, basically, right? That's how I did it. Yeah, trial and error, like Milcales says. Yeah, trial and error. Yep. So anyway, after that, I learned a lot playing video games. Do you know what was my number one game that I used to learn a lot of English? Because I played it a lot. I finished that game probably like 20 times or 30 times in total. And it was Conker's Bad Fur Day. I don't know if that's not a very popular game nowadays, but it was groundbreaking at the time. Yeah, it was groundbreaking at the time. Because I think it was the first video game for the Nintendo 64 that had full voiced lines. So the whole game was voiced. And I know today that's like expected. I think it's very normal for a video game to be fully voiced, but it wasn't at the time, you know, it wasn't normal. Okay. So, people who said Xbox. So before the Xbox, the original version of that game is from the Nintendo 64. So if you didn't know that, hey, you're welcome. So that was the original game, and that was an amazing game in my opinion. It was really good. It was fun. It was outrageous, but I learned so many words. It was awesome because it was fully voiced. So I had, you know, like I had the writing plus the listening at the same time, and that was perfect. It was perfect. So I learned a lot of English with that. Then I started, so whenever I grew up, I started playing World of Warcraft. As you probably know, I played a lot of WoW when I was younger. And so when I was playing that game, I became part of a guild. Okay? Now, I became part of the guild, and we were raiding almost every day, not every day, every week. And I had to learn, you know, English, because I could kind of understand English a bit. I was more of I could read very easily at the time, but I could barely understand, and I could talk like probably nothing. Yeah, I was part of a guild. Sorry, a guild. So I don't know if you know this word. It's a very specific word. Guild, right? So a guild is gremio in Spanish, right? So I was part of a guild, and we were just like, you know, trying to Chelsea, I don't know if she must be around here. I think she was here before. I'm not sure if she's still here. Anyway, so we were in the guild, and we were trying to like, you know, get some dungeons together and getting some loot and beating bosses, you know, all this stuff, and it was all in English. So eventually, and by the way, something interesting here. This is the time when I was also studying the university. So at university, I studied English. Okay. Now, something interesting about that is that I didn't learn English. I didn't learn English in that degree, in that university degree. That degree was to learn how to teach English, which was, you know, like the traditional method, just like, oh, grammar, vocabulary, blah, 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 right? So now, the funny thing is, I learned a lot of English because all my classes were in English. Well, most of my classes, like 80% of my classes were in English. The rest were like in Spanish. So I remember that during 4 years of my life, basically, it was like from 7 a.m. to 1 or 2 p.m., I was listening and speaking in English at school. And then I came home like around like I don't know, like 5 p.m. and I played World of Warcraft in English with all my American, Canadian, Australian, British friends, right? And I talked in English with them. So for 4 years of my life, basically, I spoke more English than Spanish every day, right? So that was really interesting because I was speaking much more English than Spanish because I spoke English at school. I spoke English with my friends in the game, and the only Spanish I spoke were with my friends, in like real life friends, and my family. That's it, right? So that's, I mean, I just spoke English all the time. That's it, okay? So that's how I eventually all of that. Now, something interesting here. That's not how I learned English to a C2 level. I think people get confused about that. All right. Así no fue como llegué a nivel C2 en inglés, ¿ok? Ahorita voy a seguir con la historia en inglés. Nada más un pequeño break para que descansen tantito. Pero eso que les acabo de decir, eso no fue como yo llegué a nivel C2. I think that was that was probably me when I was studying. I think I got like to a B1 level, probably, maybe, yeah. Jorge, tu mensaje me llegó cancelado. No decía nada. What? Could you write your question again, Jorge? Sorry. But yeah, so I was like B1 or B2 level, probably B1, to be honest with you. So yes, that was not enough. That was not enough to be a B2 level, a C2 level. Of course not. No. Now, think about it this way. A C2 level, that's something that a lot of native speakers wouldn't be able to do either. You know, C2 level is very advanced. I think most native speakers are like C1, you know, probably B2 or C1, because they're good at the language, but they're not experts, right? So, I mean, I know that you probably know a lot of words. Oh, Jorge, sí te contesté, creo que a lo mejor te contesté en inglés, Jorge, pero no, te dije que el libro no estaba todavía actualizado en físico, no lo compres. Pero sí te contesté, me acuerdo que lo contesté, sí. All right. So, most native speakers are C1 level. They're not C2 level. So that's why I think a lot of people do not like to study for the exam. Okay. So, anyway, so when I was at university, that's whenever I started learning about comprehensible input. I learned it as another like idea or theory to learn languages. I also learned about phonetics. I mean, I didn't really learn during school. I just learned about their existence, and I studied on my own time. Okay. So anyway, now that's thank you Jorge, thank you very much. It's funny because that whole time I was at school, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a very shy person. Like well, I was a very shy person. I'm not very shy anymore, but I was very shy, so I couldn't talk to people very much. I struggled speaking English. Oh, actually, I just remember. I can probably find. I have a video. Let me find it. I think I have it there. Yes. Oh, this is horrible. Okay, guys. I don't know if you have seen this video. But look, that video there, I just gave you a video. Language simp. Hey man, wow. This is the only hey there, language simp. What's up? This is the only time I actually have this in American. I usually speak English or Spanish, but never American. I'm trying my hardest right now. Hopefully it's good enough, man. Hopefully it's good enough. And man, I just freaking love language simp. This is so exciting. It's so exciting he's here. Awesome, man. Awesome. Glad to have you here. I love you, man. Awesome. By the way, I don't know if you have noticed, I'm your Patreon. I've been your Patreon for about like 3 months now. Okay? He sido tu Patreon por 3 meses hasta ahora. Así que espero que estés comiendo bastante bien, language simp. Espero que sí. Porque me encanta tu contenido, como no tienes idea. Pero, y por cierto, los invito a todos a que sean el Patreon de Language Simp, porque sus videos obviamente son sátira, son en broma la mayoría, pero tiene cosas muy geniales en su Patreon y da consejos reales. Da consejos reales sobre cómo aprender idiomas y son consejos serios que yo estoy utilizando en estos momentos, ¿ok? Mira, también tenemos aquí a Days of French and Swedish. Jesus, like every single celebrity of YouTube is here right now. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Awesome, man. Awesome. But yeah, entonces, si se suscriben al Patreon de Language Simp, tiene consejos muy buenos y consejos serios. O sea, realmente lo dice en serio. O sea, sí lo dice en serio. Y está bastante cool. Se lo celebro. Muy bueno, la verdad. Pero bueno, estábamos hablando en American. ¿Ok? So I'll go back to speaking American now. To honor Mr. Language Simp. Thank you, Joselina. Thank you very much. So anyway, as I was telling you. So, how I like, that's... Oh, by the way, I was giving you like this video. That's me speaking Spanish. Sorry, speaking English when I was like 15 years old, I think. I was like 15 or 16 years old. Okay? So, and that was like very, I mean, it was horrible, right? But that was the most, like, that was the best I could do at the time. So, if you take a look at that video, that's me speaking English a long time ago. And it was really, really bad. Chicos, para los que no me entendieron, este soy yo. Ese video que les estoy pasando a cada rato, ese soy yo hablando inglés. Pero hablando inglés hace como 15 años aproximadamente. Un poquito más, de hecho. ¿Ok? Entonces, por favor, revisen ese video. Soy yo hablando en inglés. Y para que se den una idea más o menos de cómo ha avanzado mi nivel desde ese entonces hasta ahora. Así se van a dar una mejor idea. Guárdenlo por ahí, lo pueden ver después. Guarden por ahí el video, ¿ok? Anyway, so now that this is the this is the funny this is the fun part of the video. All right, how I managed to get to C2 level. All right, this is exciting. I really want to share this with you guys. Because I did a lot of really stupid stuff to try to be a C2 level kind of guy. C2 level kind of guy. What does that even mean? So in order to get to C2 level of English, I did a lot of stuff, right? A lot of things that are not very good, in my opinion, and I could have done so many things better. So hopefully you'll stay for that, okay? Jean-Pierre Borjas, thank you very much for that tip. Thank you very much. You're right. Creo que tiene mucha razón. A la gente no le importa tu acento. Exactamente, solo quieren entenderte. I agree. Okay. So, anyway. C2 level kind of guy. Okay, perfect. Good. I thought it sounded weird. Anyway, so, yeah. So for C2 level, I really wanted to be a C2 level. Now, because I wanted to know, I wanted to be an English teacher. Right? I wanted to teach English, and I mean, my logic was, all right, so I need to have a very high level of English in order to, in order to be able to talk to people and to be able to teach people, right? So I said, all right, let's get the hardest certificate available for English, which is the CP level. All right. Now, I tried that, and I did my first certificate back in 2011. I studied for that exam very hard. I made a big effort to study, but I remember I was very bad. I was very bad. Okay, I was so bad at the language that I wasn't bad. It's just like I wasn't proficient at the language, right? So the problem was that I wanted to be much better, but I didn't know how to do it, right? I had no idea what to do. I had no idea what to do it. So, yeah. Por cierto, antes de continuar con esta historia, ¿le pueden dar like a este directo? Veo aquí 290 personas y veo nada más 190 likes. Como que ahí faltan unos likes ahí por si me los quieren dar. Los agradezco. All right. So, right. So I was the moment where I decided I'm going to improve was when I said, all right, I definitely thank you for your likes. Thank you for the likes. I really want to be a teacher. So, hey, look, the cup says, bro, it's like C2 is only for native people. You just can't reach to B2 level or C1. Yeah, I agree. And I think I was a very solid B2 level whenever I was, I think about, yeah. I think I was a solid B2 level. Whenever I was, like 16 or 17 years old. But I wanted to be a teacher, right? So if you want to be a teacher, you should know some grammar, I think. That's my opinion. It's not, I mean, I have no way of proving that, but I think it's a really good idea if you have your grammar of your grammar knowledge like very spot on if you want to be a teacher, right? So anyway, I studied a lot to be able to pass that first exam, the C2 level exam, but the way I did it was very it wasn't good, right? So I tried, for example, testing myself. I read a lot of books as well, and I actually, the first time I did the exam, I got an A, and that was very surprising to me. I got an A like the first time, so I got a C1 level immediately. Now, something interesting happened here. The way I studied for that exam wasn't really with the book, wasn't really like in a course. So the only thing I did, I was just, just consuming media. I was playing World of Warcraft, video games, and just listening to my teachers in classes, right? That's it. So I knew a lot about grammar, and I learned a lot about grammar like inductively. I mean, I didn't realize I was learning the grammar, right? So, the exam, the C1 exam. So the first exam I did was the CAE. CAE. That was the first time I did. Sorry, that was the first exam I managed to pass. I got an A in that exam, so I got a C1 level, right? Now, I wasn't... I mean, oh, and by the way, if you get a C1 level in that exam, sorry, if you get an A in that exam, that counts as a C2 level. So, for all intents and purposes, I was a C2 level in English. But there is a higher exam. The other exam is called CPE, okay? And I really wanted to pass that exam because that exam is only CPE level, okay? So, in order to pass that exam was really difficult. I don't think many people do that exam because it's so hard. It's probably not even worth it. So I studied like for so I passed the exam in 2011. I finished my university in 2011, and I studied for 5 years for that exam. So I was teaching English, and I was learning about grammar, and I was practicing with exams almost every day. Yes, CPE is the final boss. So then I mean, that's how I did it. And it's just like I was just studying something or teaching English every day, but I studied for 5 years. Yeah, it's a long time. It's a long time, and it's not worth it. So whenever I finally tried to do the exam, I got an A. I was the only person. I try to be humble here, but I can't because I'm so proud of that. I was the only person who got an A in that classroom in that day. So I was very happy with myself. I was like, wow, because getting an A in that exam, it's really difficult. So I was really happy that all my hard work paid off. And now it's really funny because if you ask anyone about CPE, they're like, huh? What's that exam? Oh, you get an A in that? What? We don't even know that exam. So my CPE is kind of pointless because nobody knows about that exam. So yeah. But yeah. Oh, sorry. So Days of French and Swedish says, hey Alberto, would love a shout out for my latest video. It's one of my best yet, and people can see how much I still suck in Spanish. Oh yeah, actually, I watched it earlier this morning. Esto va en español, chicos, porque de verdad que quiero que vean este video de Days of French and Swedish. Hizo un video en el que creo que lo medio mencioné alguna vez en el canal, en el que se puso a ver una película. Se puso a ver una película 50 veces. Se puso a ver una película 50 veces para aprender español. Entonces, mira, aquí está. Chequen ahí el canal. Y de paso, suscríbanse. Aquí a DFNS. También tiene un canal de YouTube. También trabaja con Ripple como yo. Entonces, creo que va a ser cool. Creo que va a ser cool. Ok. Vio la película de no me acuerdo cómo se llama en español, Into the Spider-Verse. Vio esa película 50 veces y le fue bastante bien. ¿Quién? A ver, déjame lo tagueo para que lo saluden. Él. Chequen su video, ¿va? Chequen su videito ahí. Revísenlo. Ahí denle un like también a su video. Está bastante cool. Y sí, véanlo, por favor. Está en inglés, eso sí, está en inglés. Así que si quieren más práctica en inglés, ahí está. Ok. Anyway, so now, Félix Soriano me preguntó en inglés que ¿estudiaste 5 años solo para el nivel C2 o desde A1 hasta C2? Alright. No, miren, aquí esto se los contesto en español. Yo, para tener un nivel C2, si contamos desde que empecé a aprender inglés hasta que pude tener esa certificación en nivel C2, me tardé unos como 14 años aproximadamente. Porque obviamente hice puras cosas que no son óptimas. ¿Ok? Ahora sí, continuamos en inglés. So yeah, that took me a while. No, esperen, no. En español, porque quiero que me entiendan esto en español. Porque la gente que me conoce y dice, oye, Mr. Salas, tú hablas muchos idiomas, tu inglés suena muy bien, se ve que tienes una facilidad con los idiomas. No, y siempre se los digo, no es cierto. No tengo facilidad con los idiomas, no tengo facilidad. Mi inteligencia, y siempre lo he pensado, mi inteligencia es promedio o por debajo del promedio. No soy erudito, no soy alguien realmente muy listo, si lo queremos ver de esa manera. Y no soy yo con baja autoestima o denigrándome, no, para nada. No. Yo siento que hago las cosas bien hoy en día, pero me refiero a que no hay nada de especial en mi cerebro, pues. ¿Sí me entienden? Simplemente es ser constante, ser diligente y hacer las cosas que tienes que hacer. ¿Ok? Eso es todo. Eso es lo único que tienes que hacer. Eso es así es como aprendemos un idioma. Hoy en día, por ejemplo, me di cuenta que con japonés estaba haciendo las cosas mal y tuve que abandonar el idioma como 2 o 3 veces para poder hacer algo bien. ¿Ok? Entonces, ¿qué les digo? Ok. ¿Qué dice por acá? Pedro Hereira dice, salúdame Mr. Salas, soy un gran fan tuyo. Manejo inglés avanzado, ahora quiero ir por el japonés. Excelente, Pedro. Pues mira, deberías ir por el japonés porque yo ahorita pues estoy con todo con el japonés y al fin encontré una manera en la que me funciona. Entonces, al fin pude aprender japonés y estoy viendo los resultados, ¿no? O sea, pues no sé si vieron mi último video. Ahí hablo japonés, o sea, estoy hablando en japonés con alguien y hablo todos los días. Language Sim ya se fue hace rato. Thank you, Lamont. I really don't think I am... I really believe I'm just like your average guy in terms of intelligence, in terms of like just skills, you know, like I really don't excel at anything. But I do feel the only thing I excel at is at being like consistent. I think I'm very consistent with things I do and things I want to do. And whenever I said, okay, I have this in mind, let's do that. Let's do this, right? So whenever I do that, I know I will do it regardless. So that's the only advantage I have, I guess. Because I know some people just do not do the stuff they say that they're going to do. They just abandon stuff very easily. So that's definitely not me. But so my point is, you don't need to be intelligent. You don't need to be like a prodigy in order to learn a language. Because some people think, oh no, there's no way I'll be able to learn a second or third language. Like yes, you can. You just don't want to, in my opinion, right? Anyway, Nutella. Yes, it's nothing special. It's hard work. There you go. Yeah, that's a really good summary of it. Yeah, it's all about being able to just you know, just do the work. Just do it. Now, something I tell people here is like, okay, you don't have to be smart. Se los voy a decir en español esto. Para aprender un idioma, no necesitas ser inteligente. Solamente necesitas ser listo. Es muy distinto, ¿de acuerdo? ¿Qué sería algo no listo? Ir a una escuela y pagar por clases y estar ahí 6 años sin avanzar, por ejemplo, ¿no? Pero algo listo sería aprender inglés en tu casa de manera gratuita, básicamente mediante la inmersión, sin pagar ningún curso ni nada, ¿ok? Eso es ser listo, ¿ok? ¿Sí se me entienden, no? Eso es a lo que voy. Entonces, al momento de ser listo, es que aprendes lo que es la constancia, aprendes lo que es el trabajo duro, aprendes a ponerte ciertos horarios, aprendes a no dejar las cosas a la mitad, etc. Y ya. Eso es todo. O sea, y si eres inteligente, pues felicidades. Simplemente va a ser todo más sencillo. Alright? There you go. Okay, that's it. So the way I got to C2 level was studying. I had to study to get that C2 level. Alright? So I don't think you could not study and pass that exam. Like, is that like a, is that actually correct? Because I think, for example, oh, by the way, this is a spoiler. this is a spoiler for one of my future videos, but I'm going to take the Cervantes exam for Spanish. And I will see how I do. Voy a hacer la certificación de Cervantes para español y voy a ver qué tal me va. Voy a ver si la paso. Y porque se supone que la debería pasar con el máximo nivel, ¿no? So, I think you could pass like any certificate exam, but I think you would have to at least read what the exam will be about beforehand. As in, like, you know, the parts of the exam. Oh, this is the reading part, and this is how it's supposed to be done. So, because I think a lot of people, it's not like their English is really bad and they fail the exam. It's just like they don't prepare, and they make mistakes because of the time constraint, right? So they're like, I don't have enough time to write this now. I only have 20 minutes and I need to hurry. So I think that's why so many people fail that exam, because they don't manage their time very well, right? That's what I think. So but yeah, so we'll see. Because according to, so my theory is I will be able to pass the exam, the Cervantes exam, even though I don't know much about Spanish grammar. So that's what I think. I will try it. I'll see how I do, but that's what I think. That's what I think is gonna happen. All right. Voy a hacer la certificación de Cervantes y les voy a decir cómo me va. Okay. Va. Okay. So yeah. So that was me. Now, stuff that I didn't do at the time that I would have done today. Number one thing, it's Anki. Definitely Anki. I never used Anki at the time. I never did anything about vocabulary. I was just reading like, oh, these are the most weird, strange, or underused words in English. So learn them, right? So I remember I was in the exam, in the speaking section. I was like, oh, well, I am usually called Alberto by my fellow companions, but this time I would like to be addressed as Mr. Salas. It's so unnatural. So, I mean, it impresses some people, I guess, but it sounds so unnatural that it's like almost like funny in my opinion. So that's not something I would do nowadays. I think I would just try to be more natural with my speech. But that's the thing I did at the time, right? So yeah, I wouldn't do that. So I would use Anki, and I would use I would probably find native speakers to talk to. Because at the time, I actually didn't practice with a lot of native speakers. I was just either chatting in the game. Oh, by the way, I stopped playing World of Warcraft in 2010. So in 2010, I didn't play anymore. So what's it? 2011, sorry. So just a couple of months before I finished university, I stopped playing the game. So I wasn't practicing English very much anymore. So yeah, yeah. Anyway, talk British English. No, I think all my British friends are going to hate me if I attempt to do a British accent. So probably not. Asword. Who is that? I don't know who that is. Asword. I have no idea who this person is. Oh, but I already like, he's talking about comic books and stuff. Awesome. I love it. So what's going on today? Like this is like the third or fourth time a YouTuber comes into my into my live. Awesome. So, something funny, like people are asking me, what's the accent you chose? What's the accent you chose to be able to like what accent did you choose to learn to speak English in? I didn't. It's something I tell people. I was, well, it's really interesting, right? Because most of my friends were American. Like, they were from the USA. Some of them were Canadian, some of them were Australian, some of them were, I think, British. Like, one or two guys were from the UK. So it was like some people were, but I think my accent is just like a weird mixture of everything. Actually, are you still here, Lamon? If you're still here, what would you say my accent sounds like? So so if somebody asks you, oh, what's Mr. Salas' accent? What would you say? Because I think it's American, right? I think it's mostly American, because most of the content I consume, and most of the people I talk to were American, right? So that's why I think my accent is American, but I actually wouldn't be able to tell you. I have no idea. I know I pronounce some words like British-ish kind of thing, but not quite. Yeah, there you go. So it's like, it's really weird, right? Because what's an American accent? Like, it depends on what part of the USA, right? Because if you're close to the border and you're talking to a bunch of like Texans, it's like this is very different from New York. So it really depends, right? I think it really depends. So I think my accent is mixed. I think a lot of people get so fixated on something that's not like even remotely important, like the accent. It's like, dude, like, who cares? Who the hell cares like what you sound like? I mean, for accent-wise, right? I think pronunciation is important. You should be able to pronounce things correctly. But the accent, I think, is overblown. You know, it's like, it's not really that important to have like a, wow, this accent is the best, right? It's like, you really don't have to. So I don't know, man. I don't think it's important. I think it's fine if you want to say like, oh, I think that I would like to sound British, and you practice to sound British, and you try to talk like a British person. Perfect. That's perfect, mate. I don't know, man. Like, do not judge me. I don't know how to do like British accent, okay? But I did live in London for 9 months. So I have a video. I have a video where, let me find it. I think it's Mr. Salas. Yeah, I was talking about the whole pandemic thing. God damn it. Where is it? Let's see. Oh yeah, there you go. So, wow, that's a young Mr. Salas there. Oh my god, what happened to me? Anyway, so this is the video. Look, this is the video. That was pretty good, but you went from posh to cockney in one word. Sorry. Yeah, that tends to happen. Yeah. Okay. So, look, that video. I just gave you a video. Now, in that video, I was living in London, and I had lived in London there for about 6 months. I lived in London there for about 6 months there. So I was talking like a British person, a little. So I remember in that video, I say university. I say, yeah, so I'm working at the university, and all the people don't know what to do here. So it's really funny because nowadays I watch that video and I'm like, wow, that's so British. What the hell? It was because I was surrounded by British people, right? So obviously I had like a more British like accent. But so that was funny. That I don't know. That was really funny. So watch that video. It's really interesting. Now like it's like a time capsule of me living in London, because I was definitely had some British vibes in there. Definitely. So anyway, if you want to take a look at that, just go for it, right? So yeah, it's like British, Australian, American accent maybe. Yeah. I can talk to anyone British or Irish for more than 5 minutes without taking on the accent. Yeah, definitely. I think that's a very common theme. Yeah. And I think in my day-to-day life, I think most of my friends are either American or Canadian. So I probably have some traits of those accents or like the words they tend to use. Probably, I mean that's my take on it. Bottle of water. Bottle of water. Bottle of water. Water. I can say water like a British person. Water. A bottle of water. Sure. Of course. Definitely. Okay. That's enough, man. That's enough. Yeah. Yeah, college. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a good point. I do say university. I never say college. I don't know why. I just don't like the word. I don't like the word college. I prefer to say university. That's a much better word, in my opinion. There you go. I'm talking like a British person now. Isn't that perfect here? Of course. Definitely. Harry Potter. Water. There you go. Alright. No problem, man. Yeah. No problem, mate. Yeah, anyway. Bottle of water. Yeah, okay, wait, guys. Stop making me say that because I'm gonna get banned by YouTube. Alright, so do not do that. Do not do that anymore. You say crisp or chips? I do say chips. I know that was very confusing whenever I was in London living there. Like people said crisps, and I was like, this is not crispy. This is like just like a normal, a regular chip. And no, you're supposed to say crisp. So whatever, right? Tuesday. It's Tuesday, innit? I actually say Tuesday. I don't know if you have. I don't know if you notice, but I do say Tuesday. I don't know why that got stuck to me. I say Tuesday. I say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's how I say the days. So I do say Tuesday. I say cookie. I do not say biscuit. I think I say pants. So I know those words. I know those British words. I also know the word crib instead of cradle. Cradle? What's the American word for that? Cradle? Cradle? I don't even know the pronunciation for it. But I know like the crib, right? So I don't know. Yeah. Church. I have no idea how Irish people speak. Sorry. Yeah. Cradle. What the hell? That makes no sense. All right, whatever. Sure. Why not? All right. So anyway, so yeah. So now, sorry. And this is important. My pronunciation, right? My accent. How did I get this accent? So I already shared with you how I learned English, then how I went from like advanced intermediate to C2 level. But now allow me to share with you how I managed to improve my pronunciation and my accent. Okay, so I was not interested in improving my accent or pronunciation. I thought, you know what, this is good enough. People understand what I say. I can play World of Warcraft with my friends with no problem. They have no issues understanding me. I'm good, man. I'm set for life. But then I had a very good teacher, and her name was Pat, Miss Pat. I love you, Miss. I missed you so much. She was the best teacher I ever had, and she was an old lady who was really into phonetics. She loved phonetics. She loved everything to do with phonetics and language and stuff. So she taught us phonetics, like the International Phonetic Alphabet. So no problem, Lamont. Thank you very much. See you later. Take care. See you. Bye. Thank you for staying here. See you later. So she was she taught us a lot about phonetics, and it was so interesting. It's like, oh, so I can read English, I can read the accent and the pronunciation of English with this weird alphabet stuff, right? So yeah, that was, and I became so obsessed with learning that. It was so cool, and I loved learning it. And that's how I learned, for example, that you don't say does, like does she? That's wrong. You say does with a Z, right? I learned about the word exam. It's not exam, that's wrong. It's exam, like exam. That's the actual sound for it, right? So I became so obsessed, and that's a good thing and a bad thing, I think, because it's a good thing because I was able to learn and improve my accent and my pronunciation, but it was really bad because I became obsessed. And I was looking down on everyone who didn't know this. So I was, like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing to tell. But I was like, I was in the classroom, right? And all of my classmates, they were also preparing to be an English teacher, right? So I was like, oh, so wait, did you just say exam? Did you know that it's actually exam? Like, there's a Z sound in there. Duh. That was me. That was Mr. Salas 10 years ago. And I'm so sorry. So, I was a perfectionist. Why do you think I don't like perfectionists? I hate perfectionists. Because I was just like that. I was one of them. And those people, very, like inside of them, the reality is that they are just very insecure, right? So when you are insecure, you need to find something that you're good at. So if you're good at something, you'll try to make every single person realize how good you are at that, right? Pedro, you're a perfectionist. Yeah. And I think, so, by the way, just to clarify, I am still a perfectionist. However, I'm a perfectionist with myself, on my own. I do not try to make everyone know, oh, did you know my accent is really good and I'm like blah 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 blah. I mean nobody cares, right? Nobody cares about that. So I just I'm not insecure about myself anymore. I'm very secure. Like I know what I am. I know what I stand for. I know how good I am. I know how bad I am. Whatever. So I mean I don't have any. I don't need to justify myself with people, right? Anymore. I think that's very normal to do when you're like 20-something years old. I think that's very common, but eventually you just grow out of it. And now, so, oh, well, I know I'm pretty good at English, I think my accent is really good. I think my skills in English are very good, but I don't need to I don't need to go around proving it to people, right? And so that's my point. But 10 years ago, I definitely tried to tell people all the time, oh, did you know that I'm so good at English that you have no idea? It was very annoying, it was very annoying. So that's why I don't like those type of people anymore, because I know they are very, very, really deep inside, they're insecure. And they are trying to prove something to themselves, right? Maybe, that's it. Diana spielt ja, würde so gerne eine ganze Liebe auf Deutsch machen. Ich könnte das auch machen, aber ich möchte nicht Deutsch sprechen immer. Ich möchte mehr Englisch oder Spanisch sprechen, weil ich dachte, dass die deutsche Sprache sehr schön ist. Ich möchte mehr anderen Sprache benutzen. Vielleicht Japanisch oder Italienisch oder Englisch, aber Deutsch sprechen klingt gut, aber nicht immer, aber ich möchte in der Zukunft, das könnte es sein. All right, there you go. All right, so I'm just answering a random question in German there. Okay, yeah, but yeah, that's it. All right, so anyway, Yeah, I know, Fabian. I don't know. I need to find a better position for my microphone. But yeah, that's it. So oh, and by the way, my German is like way worse than my English, right? So I think so. I can speak Spanish. By the way, people who are new to the channel, my native language is Spanish. Soy nativo del español, ¿ok? Para los que acaban de llegar y están aquí nada más, soy nativo del español, ¿ok? But I also speak English. Ich kann ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen auch. 私はもう日本語を話します。少し日本語を話します、今はこの日本語のことは知らないですけど、私はもっと日本語を話します。できる話します。話します。はい。話します。そうです。Italian too. Posso parlare un po' italiano anche, ma l'italiano credo che ya li ho dimenticato un po', ma sì, posso parlare con altre persone, è facile per me perché l'italiano è una lingua facile di parlare. And my French sucks, so I'm not even gonna try that one. Okay? I'm not even gonna try that one. Je peux parler un petit peu de français, mais mon français c'est très mauvais. Je oublie tout mon français, je ne le peux parler avec autre personne. Mais je voudrais mon français. I don't know how to say that. My French sucks, man. My French sucks so much. I hate it. I think I can speak French. Like, I can probably talk about the French with another person, but on my own, it's really hard. I think it's really hard to do. It's really hard to do. Yeah, definitely. So says what? Thank you, Diana. Thank you very much, Diana. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Says, salúdame en japonés. Say hello in Japanese. What's your name? 私のあなたの名前は simplemente mi opinión san. Simplemente mi opinión san. How do you say? Because if you say konnichiwa, that's just hello. But konnichiwa, simplemente mi opinión san. O genki desu ka? I don't know what to say, man. Anyway. Yeah. All right. So, say baguette as a filler word. Let's see. Je voudrais parler français, mais mon baguette, c'est très... je l'oublie tout mon baguette. Le baguette, c'est très heureuse parce que ma baguette... No, man. I think in the future, I would like to relearn French because my French is there. Like I can watch a TV show in French. I can understand French very well, but my speech sucks because I never practice it, right? But yeah, I'll try to say. Parli meglio in francese che in italiano. Giorgio Scopesi, sei italiano, ma vero che parlo migliore in francese che italiano, ma il mio italiano credo che è un po' migliore che ma francese, ma adesso grazie Giorgio Scopesi, tu sei italiano, vero? È vero, il suo italiano non si sente così pulito come il suo francese. Really? Wow. Well, I mean, to be fair, my Italian and my French, I mean, I can understand the language, I can talk, I can speak to people, but you are probably right because I never practice my Italian, I never practice my French, so they're like kind of in there, you know? They're like kind of there, but I'm not an expert at them. Yeah, you're right in that regard. Yep. So it's really interesting though, like that you think that my French is better than my Italian. That's so interesting because I thought it was like my Italian was better than my French. So that's really interesting. Awesome. That's really awesome to know. Now I'm actually kind of excited to try to study Italian and French again because they're in here, man. They're in here. I just need to let them out. I just need to let them out. That's it. Okay. Dico per la pronuncia. Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, my pronunciation probably sucks. Yeah, you're right. But I think if I work on my languages for like, a couple months, I can probably recover them very easily. But right now, I'm just focusing on Japanese right now. So Japanese is the language I've been learning a lot. German is another language I learned very well, I think. English, obviously, you can probably tell I'm really good at English, and my Spanish is my native language, right? So that's it. Ooh, okay. Yeah, there you go. You have some recommendations to learn Italian. Not now, to be honest, because my Italian sucks. So yeah, what does plateau mean? Plateau is like a limit. So for example, I think right now my English has plateau, which is like it reached its maximum level, and sometimes we have to do some things like differently in order to be able to break that plateau, right? In order to be able to improve, basically, right? That's it. It says, it doesn't suck, you make more pauses in French than in Italian. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, because I know much more words in Italian than in French. Maybe that's why. Well, thank you guys. Thank you. I didn't know that. It says, taka taka go UUI2. Huh? I think there's a kanji there that I don't know. Anyway. Christian says that I think the adequate period to reach confidence and fluency is nearly 2 years. I would agree. Yes, that's my point of view. Do you agree, Mr. Salas? It's an average I've got in mind. Yeah, definitely, Christian. I do think that's a very good way of seeing it. Like 2 years of, if you study every day for 1 or 2 hours every day, and you can become very fluent in a language. I think in 2 years, probably even less than that. To be honest with you, like I mean. It depends on the language, right? Like, for example, Japanese in 2 years, there's no way you're doing that. It's like at least 3 or 4 years at a minimum, I think. I mean, to be able to be fluent, and when I say fluent, it's like just like what you're listening to right now with my English, right? That's fluency. So, with the Japanese, 2 years, I really don't see it at all. But 3 or 4 years, sure. Now, with English, for example, or with Italian, or with French, I think 1 year would be enough, in my opinion. Because those languages are so similar. I mean, Italian and French and Spanish and English are very similar. Well, English is a little different, but you know what I mean, right? Like, for example, there's a lot of words in English that are shared with Spanish. So, yeah. Okay. That's my opinion. They say here, is there any language you cannot listen to? Like one that sounds horrible to your ears? Not really. No. I do not think that happens to me at all. But I do believe that some people are more interested in, like, I think. No, I don't have any language that I'm like, oh, I don't like this language. This language is not good. No, that doesn't happen to me. I prefer some languages. Like I love how Japanese and German sound, for example, but I don't particularly like how Chinese sounds like, right? That doesn't mean I hate Chinese. It's just like I don't like it very much, right? That's it. Diana says, is Japanese the most difficult language that you have learned? Yes, so far, definitely it has. Yes, it's been the hardest thing I've ever done. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm planning to have some videos in the channel in English. Actually, I don't know if you guys know it, but I have a channel that it's only in English. Yeah. I think I haven't updated that channel in like so many months, but let me share it with you. Wow, that's 3 months ago that I made a video. I need to make more videos in that channel. So I usually this is my channel. There you go. Okay, that's my channel, and that's the channel for my English content. And it's very random. I'm talking about video games. I'm talking about movies. I'm talking about really random stuff. Jean-Pierre Borjas dice, ¿cuánto crees que tomaría llegar a un nivel responsable en italiano a un nativo en Spanish? Ya que salió el más rico para italiano, lo estoy pensando. Creo que para un nativo del español italiano, yo creo que te va a tomar unos... ¿Qué? Yo creo que de empezar de cero italiano, sabiendo español, y llegar a ser fluido, yo creo que unos 7, 8 meses, porque es muy parecido. Entonces, te vas a saltar muchísimas partes. Ajá, por ejemplo, no realmente ese mazo de cartas de Riffle te lo vas a acabar en días, probablemente. Porque ya vas a conocer muchas palabras porque se van a parecer al español. Entonces creo que eso va a ser... yo creo que sí, es cuestión de meses el italiano. Y estoy seguro que también el portugués es así. Estoy casi seguro. ¿Cómo est-ce que tu as appris le français à l'école un peu comprensible à l'école? J'ai appris le français à l'école, mais j'ai oublié tout mon français. I don't know how to say that. I have forgotten all my French so far. I don't know how to say that in French. Yeah, so I learned at school. Yeah, I didn't learn with input. No. And the same goes for my Italian, which is why I think those two languages, even though I know the languages and I can communicate in them, are not very good, right? Those are my two weakest languages. So, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Refill también se puede usar en smartphone. Yeah, well, I mean, Refill is not like an app or anything. We just sell decks, basically. The Anki decks. So, yeah, you can use them on your phone. Definitely. Yep. Let's see. Some people ask me, what if I watch anime for 10 years? Well, I've been watching anime for 20 years, and I didn't know anything, basically. So... No, you have to study. Japanese is very different. It's a very different system. You cannot learn Japanese by mistake. You have to make a very concerted effort in order to learn. Okay. So, okay. Okay. Chicos, voy a voy a contestar un par de preguntas más en español y vamos a terminar por ahora. Ok, ¿qué les parece? ¿Qué dice? Sonna oku na okiku na yugo o shabereru no ga sugoi desu ne. Yeah, did I read that kanji right? I think I did. I'm not sure. あなたの一番好きな興味は何ですか? Shimi, right? Shimi, that's Shimi. あなたの一番好きな趣味は何ですか? 私の一番趣味はホビーですね。私の趣味は動画を作ります。で、動画を見ます。もうゲームをします。これから私の趣味です。一番の趣味はゲームと、言語も私の一番の趣味は言語です。私は言語を勉強します。言語を話しますもん。そうですかね。Yeah, I think that's my Japanese. So, 読み方が趣味。趣味の読み方は趣味。Shumi. Thank you. Shumi. I said shimi, right? Shumi. Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. Purasuko. I just read your name. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so, yeah. So se dice shumi. I read that wrong. Yeah, thank you. But I knew the meaning. So you see, like, I can recognize some kanji now. So I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, a ver, ¿qué preguntas tienen? Déjenme ver. El de Language Simp. Les recomiendo que chequen el canal de Language Simp, porque obviamente está genial. Pero no nada más eso, sí que acuérdense que tiene videos serios en su Patreon. Está bastante cool. Eso sí, nada más los tiene en inglés. ¿Cuánto tiempo te demoraste en poder leer japonés? Uy, un montón de tiempo. Ahora, tomen en cuenta que yo llevo estudiando japonés desde hace como 3 años aproximadamente. No, es mucho. 2 años. pero lo dejé como en 3 ocasiones. Entonces realmente nunca hubo consistencia hasta este año. Este año empecé en enero y hasta ahora he sido muy consistente. Todos los días he estudiado japonés, mínimo 1 hora, deseable 2 o 3 horas. Entonces todos los días estudio muchísimo japonés. Así que ahora sí estoy notando diferencias y ya puedo hablar. O sea, puedo hablar con nativos japonés. Imagínate, uso italki para eso. Entonces está genial, sin problema. ¿Va? Ah, ¿a poco en coreano es shimi? Ah, ¿en serio? Mira. Probablemente, porque ya ves que estuve estudiando coreano unas semanas. Puede ser que sí. Sí, Memo. Salgo en el video de Days of French and Swedish porque vino a visitar México. Y de hecho yo también grabé un video con él. Lo estoy editando en este momento y voy a... Ahí espero que les guste. Es una conversación que tuve con él sobre aprender idiomas, cómo es aprendiendo el español y todo eso. Pero sí, bueno, por ejemplo, se dan cuenta, por cierto, que ya cuando eres fluido en un idioma, puedes cambiar al idioma sin mucho problema. Es por eso que, por ejemplo, no sé si se dieron cuenta que me costó mucho trabajo cambiar a italiano y a francés, porque no soy fluido en esos idiomas. Sé esos idiomas, puedo consumir media en ese idioma, puedo hablar con gente en ese idioma, pero no soy fluido. A diferencia de mi alemán, mi inglés y mi español, ¿no? En esos 3 idiomas sí soy fluido y soy bueno en esos 3 idiomas. Entonces puedo cambiar así como sin mucho problema, pero al momento de esos otros 2 ya es más complicado. Entonces, así es como yo defino básicamente la fluidez en un idioma. Muchísimas gracias, Pedro. Pedro me dice, Salas, con lo que has aprendido, ¿en cuánto tiempo puedes ya leer de corrido un diario de japonés? Ahorita todavía no puedo leer realmente japonés de corrido. Pero yo creo que si ahorita, por ejemplo, lo que primero quise hacer es entender japonés escuchado y poder leer un poco. Ajá. Ahora estoy empezando a leer más. Y yo creo que en unos 3 o 4 meses debería poder leer novelas. Porque ahorita estoy leyendo mangas, pero es fácil porque el manga está mucho más sencillo. Pero yo creo que para poder leer japonés de corrido, fluido, sin mucho problema, como 1 año de estudio diligente y concreto, creo que se va a poder. Definitivamente. Dice, le di una oportunidad a Busu y ahora me gusta. Le entendí muy poco, pero muy poco hoy. Joselina, qué bueno saber eso. Mira, al final, Busu es una herramienta más. Es la que yo prefiero, pero no es la mejor. O sea, cada quien elige una que le guste. A mí me gusta Busu porque está como más ordenado, ¿no? Así, entonces, pues la uso. Y eso es todo. Entonces, no necesita usar Busu a fuerza si no quiere. Pero qué bueno que le gustó. Está cool. A mí me gusta mucho esa aplicación. Y a lo mejor entendió hoy muy poquito, pero no pasa nada. Así vamos, de poquito en poquito. No pasa nada. Ajá. A ver qué dicen por acá. Dice Lucas, me dice, do you have some app that you could recommend for speaking skills? Speaking skills. In English, else speak. Hasta parece que me pagó para preguntarme esa pregunta. Sí, por favor, chicos. Por si no lo recuerdan, estos directos me los patrocina Else Speak. Gracias a ellos puedo hacer estos directos más seguido ahora. Entonces, si quieren dar una vuelta, chequen ahí Else Speak. Chequen ahí la prueba de 7 días gratis y también la de por vida de 85% de descuento. Ahí revísenlo, por favor. Ellos son los que me dan de comer. Así que muchas gracias, Else Speak. Y gracias a ustedes también por checar. Aunque le den clic al link, con eso ya me ayudan. Muchísimas gracias. ¿Qué dicen por acá? A ver. ¿Dejaste por completo el coreano? Sí, era nada más un experimento para ver cómo me iba con el coreano, pero realmente no me interesa tanto el coreano, te voy a ser sincero. Me pregunta Thiago, ¿do you think that your method is better than other polyglot methods? Me pregunta por acá que si creo que si mi método es mejor que los métodos de otros políglotas. Pues obviamente te voy a decir que sí, porque me funciona a mí. Pero es que eso es lo chistoso, ¿no? Que cada políglota, si le preguntas a cada políglota, a lo mejor muchos te van a decir, pues yo aprendo con la inmersión, yo aprendo con el input comprensible, pero deben hacer otras cosas distintas, ¿no? Entonces, obviamente, mi método es el mejor para mí porque me funciona, pero eso no quiere decir que el método de otro políglota no sirva o sea inferior. No, simplemente es uno que le funciona más a esa persona. Y creo que de ahí emana mucha confusión, ¿no? Porque luego hay gente que quiere aprender inglés de cierta manera y ven un video mío y luego ven un video de Ikena, por ejemplo, que es completamente distinto de cómo aprendemos idiomas. Bueno, no, tiene algunas similitudes, pero es un poquito distinto. Y a lo mejor dicen, oye, esto es muy distinto, entonces alguien me está mintiendo. No, simplemente ambos te estamos diciendo la verdad, pero es muy distinta la manera en la que nos acomodamos, ¿no? Porque al final acuérdense que cada vez que yo les doy una guía, algún método de estudio o les comparto cómo le estoy haciendo yo, siempre les digo que tienen que adaptarlo a su realidad. No nada más porque yo estudio 3 horas al día quiere decir que todo el mundo puede. A lo mejor habrá que adaptarlo un poquito más a lo que podamos hacer nosotros, ¿no? Eso es todo. O sea, entonces no creo eso, de verdad. Me pregunta Johan, ¿qué opinas de los videos de idiomas de Alex, youtuber? Mira, Alex tiene la piel muy delgadita, entonces por eso ya no hablo de nada de ella. Entonces, no, o sea, mi video que hice hace años, fue un video totalmente inocuo. O sea, no dije nada malo realmente. Solo dije, esto no me gusta, pero creo que no vio bien el video o algo así. Y se lo tomó como muy mal. Yo creo que no vio el video, insisto, creo que nunca vio el video. Entonces nada más vio el título, pensó que era un ataque a ella y pues con piel tan delgadita obviamente se sintió mal y ya, ¿no? Pero en el video siempre, de hecho hasta digo, oye, eso es una buena idea, eso que está haciendo es muy cierto, bla, bla, bla. Entonces, pues ahora sí que, ¿qué les digo, no? Por eso ya no hablo nada de ella, entonces ya tampoco veo su contenido porque pues no quiero verlo y reaccionar o hablar de algo y bla, 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 que le moleste, ¿no? No, pues ya no hago nada de eso. Justamente para evitar drama. Porque a la fecha me siguen llegando gente de su canal diciéndome que soy muy malo por haberla hecho sentir mal. Y es como de, ¿what? Ok. Entonces ya por eso ya no lo hago. Me pregunta por acá, Monse, ¿entonces leer mangas y webtoon en inglés es bueno? Básicamente es lo que... Sí, claro que sí. Es lo que yo hago para japonés. Y me sirve bastante, así que sí, está cool. El Discord sale para mañana. Sí, de hecho, para la gente que es miembro del canal, en este momento voy a poner una... en la pestaña de comunidad, aquí en el canal, voy a poner algo ahí para que se puedan unir si quieren de una vez al Discord. Vamos a probar a ver cómo funciona. Y después, el día de mañana, como a eso de las 2 o 3 de la tarde, ya vamos a lanzar el Discord tal cual para todos, ¿de acuerdo? Entonces, si lo quieren checar hoy, si son miembros del canal y lo quieren checar hoy, de una vez, ¿va? Me pregunto por acá, profe, ¿qué hay acerca de Cale Anders? No, chicos, aléjense de Cale Anders. O sea, creo que Cale Anders, pues simplemente es, pues vende sus cursos, ¿no? Y su curso no tiene nada de grandioso, no tiene nada de wow, impactante. Es un curso como cualquier otro, pero carísimo. Entonces, no, mejor no. Mejor compren mi curso de inglés, que no vale nada, que es 0 pesos. Nada más vean mi último video y ya. Les sale más barato y probablemente les va a salir igual. Las clases con Cambly grupales son buenas para hacer fluido. Para hacer fluido, yo me iría a clases 1 con 1. Es lo que yo hago con italki. Ahora, por cierto, hay gente que me pregunta, ¿por qué italki y no Cambly? Pues porque Cambly es nada más para inglés y italki es para cualquier idioma. Entonces, obviamente uso italki porque yo estoy con el japonés, ¿verdad? Sí, Fabián. No te preocupes ahí. Gracias por los 65 pesotes. Pero sí, vas a llegar a la fluidez entre más hables con personas. Y justamente por eso es que estoy abriendo este Discord, para que más gente tenga acceso a otros nativos del idioma o gente que habla muy bien el idioma y que no tengan que gastar dinero en una plataforma si no pueden, ¿verdad? ¿Ok? Entonces, en este momento, chicos, les voy a pasar la invitación a mis... Bueno, no aquí. Les voy a pasar la invitación a los miembros del canal. Lo voy a poner aquí en YouTube, en la pestaña de comunidad para miembros. Pero no se preocupen, si ustedes no son miembros, no tienen que suscribirse ni nada. Simplemente el día de mañana lo voy a sacar para cualquier persona, ¿va? O sea, no voy a poner el Discord nada más para miembros o algo así, ¿ok? Entonces, a ver, en un momentito pongo la historia. Entonces, si ustedes son miembros del canal o algo así, ahí los voy a dejar. Pero recuerden, mañana como a las 2 o 3 de la tarde voy a subir una cosita aquí en YouTube también para que se unan y lo chequen y me digan si les gustó o no la idea. ¿Qué les parece? ¿Va? Ok, chicos, pues muchas gracias. Les agradezco mucho haberme acompañado el día de hoy aquí. Para los que me entendieron casi todo, qué cool. Qué padre que entendieron algunas cosas, especialmente si están como en un proceso y entendieron algo del directo del día de hoy. Qué genial. Antes de que se vayan, por favor, no me regalan un like. Antes de que se vayan, me pueden regalar, por favor, un pequeño like. También aquí compartir el canal con sus personas que conozcan. Especialmente el último video que hice, creo que es la guía definitiva para aprender un idioma. Y creo que va a servir a mucha gente en los años venideros. Así que si conocen a alguien que en este momento quiere pagar un curso o que quiere comprar algo muy caro o quiere hacer algo para aprender inglés o cualquier idioma, creo que esa guía, o ustedes mismos a lo mejor, creo que esa guía les va a servir bastante, ¿va? Entonces, por favor, chéquenlo, definitivamente chequen ese video, creo que les va a servir. Y pues ya, ¿ok? Así, estos directos siempre los dejo en el canal. Pueden entrar en el canal, en la pestaña de directos o en vivo, creo que dice. Ajá, creo que es en vivo. Ahí dejo estos directos siempre por si los quieren volver a checar. Ahí pueden comentar también. Es completamente libre, ya saben. Y pues nada. Me dice Luis que debería hacer un video así. Oh, sí, no te preocupes. Voy a hacer un video en inglés eventualmente también aquí en el canal. Vamos a ver qué tal. ¿Qué hay de esa guía? Pedro, ese es el último video que tengo. Es el último video que está en mi canal. Es el video más reciente en mi canal. Ahí hablo. Es básicamente una guía de cómo aprender un idioma. Ya sea que seas principiante o sea que eres avanzado o intermedio, como que cómo retomar tu nivel para volver a estudiar. Ahí dejé esa guía, está dividida en dos partes, para los principiantes o para las personas que están empezando. Y es un plan de 6 meses donde les digo horario, qué hacer, estudio, etc. Es muy completo y obviamente lo mejor es que es gratis. Nada más tienes que ver el video y ya. No tienes que pagar nada, ¿ok? Cool. Entonces... ¿sale? ¿Ya es la guía definitiva? Sí, Cristian, te lo juro que ahora sí. Sí. Ahora, esto obviamente en el futuro voy a seguir haciendo videos de guías y eso porque al final es como... son maneras distintas de estudiar un idioma porque hay personas que necesitan a lo mejor una guía específica, pero desde un ángulo distinto, ¿no? Por ejemplo, si eres una persona que le gusta leer mucho, eventualmente voy a hacer una guía de cómo aprender más inglés leyendo, en lugar de consumir, por ejemplo, series o películas si no te gustan. Ese tipo de cosas, ¿va? En fin. Les agradezco mucho. Cuídense, por favor. Nos vemos. Y pues nada. Dice Tomás, ¿cómo se llama la app para aprender idiomas hablando con nativos en comparación a Cambly? La de italki. La de la de acá, italki. ¿Esa es la que te refieres? Ahora, en italki, si nada más vas para inglés, yo creo que sí recomiendo Cambly, porque como es enfocado en inglés, puedes encontrar casi cualquier persona de casi cualquier país de habla inglesa. Entonces eso es la ventaja. Y en italki puedes encontrar a muchos nativos de muchos idiomas, pero es un poquito más limitada la selección de inglés, obviamente, ¿no? Porque hay menos gente. Entonces ahora sí que depende de qué estés buscando. Yo es lo que sería la plataforma que yo utilizaría, ¿va? En fin, cuídense, nos vemos. Muchísimas gracias por acompañarme y hasta luego, chicos. Tengan un hermoso jueves. Gracias por acompañarme. Y volvemos a los directos normales, yo creo que la próxima semana. A ver, yo creo que otra vez en domingo. Creo que fue el día que mejor nos funcionó hasta ahora. Ya veremos. Cuídense y hasta luego. Adiós, chicos. Nos vemos muy pronto en el Discord. Les voy a dejar ahí la invitación pronto. Chéquenlo, por favor. Únanse y nos estamos viendo por el Discord también. Y si no, los veo mañana. Cuídense y adiós, futuros políglotas. Class dismissed. Bye bye.